We're going to go over comics that came out this week and speak about issues of comics that are coming out next week, as well as some news that just came out this week. The show is full of spoilers, so let's start off right away with Batman, issue number 44. This is going to be a standalone issue of Batman that kind of gets off Jim Gordon for a little bit and goes back to Bruce Wayne Batman. And this story is about a character, a young boy who was murdered, who Bruce Wayne Batman is investigating his death, and he deals with the Penguin about it. And this young man is from the Narrows, specifically a spot in the Narrows called the Corners, where the gang's territory kind of intersects. And so this young man owned a store there, and the gangs were trying to push into his store. His father got sick, and he needed help. He went to the police. Police wouldn't get it. So he went to Penguin for the help. Penguin said, sure, I'll help you. Ended up throwing the boy to the wolves and trying to take the land and the store for himself. Killed the young man. The young man died. It wasn't necessarily by Penguin, but the young man ended up dying. It ties back in to the garden with Mr. Bloom, but that's going to be later on in the next issue maybe. But this one, it ties up very cleanly and very neatly why Bruce Wayne chose to fake his own death and to go help the young boys and men that are involved in the, the Young Men's Club of America. So that's what Bruce Wayne is doing. He's helping the young boys in the boys club. And this comic tells you why he's doing it. It's a good read. It's got a $4.99 price tag, so it's a little bit more expensive than the regular $3.99 comic. But it's a good standalone story, and it explains to you why Bruce Wayne did what he did. It's a really good comic. Next, Broken Moon number 1. This is a 4-part series. I spoke about this last week. I found out how the moon explodes. Spoilers, we did it! Way to go, America! So apparently we got there first, and then Russia and China and India followed suit, and we fought over it because, you know, we should own more than a quarter of the moon, and we ended up blowing it up, and people died because of that, resulting in tidal waves and cataclysmic events on Earth. So a lot of the population died out, and then the vampires rose up and started making human slaves and making farms and breeding centers where they can harvest the blood. So that's what's happening with the humans. We're being slave traded by vampires. So you have the vampires doing that. Then you have the werewolves who are not hurting the humans. They're trying to work with the humans, and they're also being hunted by the vampires. So those are the only two creatures we've met so far as this series progresses in issue 1. We've met vampires and werewolves, and we've met some human rebels that one was trapped in the vampire encampment, and she was broken free from some of her cohorts, and they went away into the forest where the werewolves are, and one of them died, met with the werewolves at the very end. So that's that comic, the Broken Moon comic. It's a 4-part series. That's issue 1. Get it, it's going to be good. All right, next up, the finale to Planet Hulk. If you've been reading it, this is a really interesting series. Doc Green is working with Steve Rogers. They're trying to find Bucky, and they're going to the Red King to find him. Turns out, in the very end, that the Red King is killed by Steve Rogers, and that Doc Green is actually another Steve Rogers from a parallel universe. Yes. So Steve Rogers is helping Steve Rogers. But Doc Green knew that Bucky was dead. Bucky had been dead this entire time. So they were just using him to take over the land of mud. So they used Steve Rogers and Devil Dinosaur to kill the Red Hulk to take over the land. In the very end, Captain America killed that other Captain America, the other Steve Rogers, that was Doc Green. I know it's very confusing. You gotta understand, with Marvel's Battle Worlds, there's multiple characters throughout the universe, or throughout the battle world. There's different characters on each domain. So it can be very confusing. Just know that Steve Rogers killed another version, another augmented version of Steve Rogers, who was evil. Okay? Next up, Suiciders from Vertigo Comics, issue number 6. If you've been reading this is a great story. It's a dystopian Earth, a dystopian America, and the way I was reading it, the way I was understanding it, we were getting a viewpoint from 2 different characters. Turns out these 2 different characters are one character, the past and the future. And so it ties it all together very neatly here. The figure known as Alvarez, the one with the big red gloves, if you've been reading it in the past, he is actually the saint that lives in Los Angeles. And the saint is disregarding all the luxuries he has so he can go back to where he was. And it's a really good clincher right here. So if you have a chance to pick up Suiciders, this is a good book. Get it right now. What are you waiting for? Get up out that chair. You're not doing nothing else. Go over there and get it. All right. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 5. This is the finale to the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. We find Mary Jane and Annie Mae Parker, calling herself Amp. Annie Mae Parker, you get it? So Amp and Mary Jane are going to fight Regent along with Hawkeye and his little band of merry men. And they're going to fight Regent, and they know that Peter Parker's trapped in there. Regent is siphoning the powers from Peter Parker. He's getting a spider sense now. And he senses them coming, and he battles them. He's starting to take them out. But they use a special trick arrow that Hawkeye had that kind of disables Regent's technology. So Regent becomes human again. And during this whole fight scene, Peter Parker breaks out of his imprisonment because he senses his family's in trouble. And he does what he can to help his family. So he breaks out of this impenetrable imprisonment that he's in. He breaks out of it, goes to save his family, he's fighting Regent. At the very end, when Regent's lost all of his technology and he's just a regular human being, Peter Parker has the ultimate decision to kill him at that very moment, and chooses not to because his daughter's there, and chooses to go the humane route. Just knocks him out. Way to go, Peter Parker. Stand-up guy for always. So that's the end of this series. So if it was a 5-part series, get out and grab all 5 all you can. Next up, the last one for our adult-themed comics, Faster Than Light. This comic is the first issue. It's going to be a maybe 4 or 5-part issue series, a little short mini-series. It's from Image Comics. It's about us literally creating the technology to go faster than light. So we're exploring the universe here. There's 2 separate missions that are going on. One mission that we all know about, all the media knows about, that it's us just trying to explore. Well, there's a separate mission that's being set out because there's some type of alien that's out there that we see this technology. And so we're sent another mission, another secret mission for this ship to go find help to defeat that oncoming alien that they have found. So if you have a chance, please pick up this book. It has some cool alien technology. We're going to try to show you some of it. But it has a certain URL that you can go along with the book. It has live action pages that correlate with the book reading. So if you have a chance, pick up this book. It's a lot of reading, but you know, it's good. It's a good starting standpoint. It takes you through who the crew are to 2 different ships, and then their initial takeoff and starting their mission and what they come upon their first planet. It's a cool book. It's got some cool features to it. So grab it. Image Comics, number 1. It's only $2.99. So get out there and grab that one. All right, so for our kids' choice this week, we're going to go with Super Angry Birds. Now, this is, of course, another Angry Birds cartoon. But what's different about this one is this one has the anamorphic alien or anamorphic Angry Birds, where they have human physiology to them. And they live with human beings. And they're protecting the human beings from a corrupt city of New York. So what happened is there was this eagle that used to be over New York that he used to take care of it, but then it started slipping out of his hands and he wanted to see New York do better. So this pig came in and took over, and the pig allowed a lot of corruption to come in. He hired a lot of people inside of his little circle and put them in certain positions and placement in the city. And it just started to go downhill from there. The gangs took over. The King Pig brought his gang in. And so now we find the Super Angry Birds coming in as superheroes and trying to help clean up New York. So that's where that one is. So that concludes what came out this week. That's just that's only 7 comics. There was 45 comics that came out brand new this week easily. This is just a small amount. Please, if you have a chance, get out there, look at them, see what really came out, see what's going to interest you. This again is just our opinion, what we think was the best ones. All right, so moving on to what's coming out next week. There's a whole slew of comics coming out next week. So let's just say the ones to keep an eye on. Agent Carter. I told you earlier about the comics that came out that all tie into the S.H.I.E.L.D., 50 years of S.H.I.E.L.D. This week's was Quake. So it's a really cool comic. It wasn't in our list here, but Quake came out this week. Next week, Agent Carter comes out. So you want to pick that one up. Remember, these are all one-shots. Aliens vs. Zombie #2. All new Hawkeye #5. That's an awesome series. If you have a chance to pick that one up. Batman Arkham Knight Genesis #2. Beauty #2. I spoke about Beauty #1 before in one of our other issues, or one of our other episodes. It's a great story about an STD that causes you to become beautiful. And these police detectives are trying to track it down, see what's causing it, see how they can stop it. So Beauty #2 comes out next week. Big Trouble Little China #16. Bloodshot Reborn #6. Again, I'm a big Valiant fan. If you've been watching these shows, you know I love Valiant. Bloodshot Reborn #6 is coming out. Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier #11. Captain America White #1. This is going to be a 5-part series that comes out, starting with Captain America White #1. So get out and pick that one up. Death Head #3. This is a really good series. If you like horror, the macabre and stuff like that, Death Head Death Head is a good comic to pick up right now. It's only at #3. You should be able to find the other 2 issues rather easily. Disciples #3. Doom #4. Harley Quinn #20 is coming out. House of M #3. Infinity Gauntlet #4. Gem and the Holograms #7. You know you want Gem. Looking for Group #6. Mega Man #53. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic #34. You need that one in your life. Plants vs. Zombies #4. Robin, Son of Batman #4 is coming out. Southern Cross #5. This is a cool sci-fi comic that's been out. It's about a ship on its way to Mars. Check it out. It's a good series. I really enjoy it. Star Trek #49. Star Wars #9. Star Wars Lando #4. It's been a really good series. I've been enjoying the heck out of Lando. And then we also have Steam Wars First Empire #1. So it's a spoof of Star Wars with the steampunk era thing going with it. Okay, and the last one I want to talk about is a cool one coming out. Colin Bunn's writing it. Voltron from the Ashes #1. It's going to be a 6-part series. And it's going to be a little darker substance to it. So if you grew up with Voltron, you're an adult now, you're going to be in your mid-30s. I feel you. This Voltron #1 is going to be amazing. It's going to be right up our alley. So Voltron from the Ashes #1. Check it out if you have a chance. So that's going to conclude our comics that are coming out next week, which brings us to the news. And what news do we have for you this week? Well, who likes Preacher, the comic book? I do. AMC has just confirmed a full series order, according to the Nerdist, for Preacher. So if you liked Preacher, or if you don't know about it, come to the shop. We got the copies for you. It's going to be a cool series. Looking forward to that. And that's going to be on AMC. Also, they started filming for Flash Season 2. You can see the trailers out on that. Ronda Rousey. A lot of people don't seem to like Ronda Rousey. I can understand. She's not the best actor right now. She can get there in time, but she's not there right now. She is said by comicbook.com to star in a Roundhouse reboot. The Patrick Swayze Roundhouse. That one. Yes, that one. They want to reboot it and put Ronda Rousey in it. Who's she going to play? I don't know. Sam Elliott? I don't know. All right. I think that pretty much concludes the interesting news so far. And that concludes the show for this week. So let us know in the comments what you think about it, what you want to hear about. What are you reading and picking up this week? All right? We'll see y'all again.